Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today, still in Florida, thought we would talk about what we learned from the round of 64. This will be a bit quicker video, I think. Just got about 10 bullet points here to rip down, maybe 30 seconds a bullet point. We'll see how that all goes. Thought we'd just start off with the conference records. 4-2 ACC, American 1-1, Big 12 5-2, Big East 4-1. That's the best. Big 10 5-3. So stop hating. Mountain West 1-3. They finally won. San Diego State hung on against Charleston. Good for them. Pac-12 2-3. Yikes. SEC 6-2, and the West Coast 2-0 with Gonzaga and St. Mary's. So they obviously 100%. After them, Big East 80%, SEC 75%, Big 12 74%, ACC 67%, Big 10 at 62%, and then the Pac-12 for 40%, and then at 25% for Mountain West. So do with that information what you will. The SEC is unfortunately 1-2 against the Big 10, but we always will have the 2-seeded team, Texas A&M, in the conference losing to 10-seeded Penn State, an absolute murder scene. Shout out Booty Ball. And I guess we can kind of just jump around here and just talk about those guys quickly. So the Big 10, right? The 3 losses were by the usual suspects. Now, it wasn't in usual order, but both 9-seeded Illinois and Iowa once again lost in the first round. McCaffrey and Underwood do it again. And another thing that one of these other coaches do, Matt Painter, loves to lose double-digit seeds. He was a 1 seed. Okay, it'd be one thing to lose double-digit seed if you're a 3 or a 4 or something like that. You just bailed out Virginia. You're now the second team ever to lose as a 1 seed, and the second one in 5 years, right? So, granted, Spin Zone, they won the championship the next year, so every 16 seed that's ever lost or ever beaten a 1 seed, that 1 seed has won the championship the next year. So, that could be your, I guess, Spin Zone if you're a Purdue fan. I know you don't want to hear it, but, whatever. Looking at those 3, they're 3 of the more traditional choking Big Ten conference coaches, and they did it once again this year. Now, looking at some of the new coaches and new teams, you've got Northwestern, second ever tournament win. They beat Boise State. Good for them. Maryland wins the first-year head coach, new regime. They win. And then Penn State wins with obviously Shrewsbury and Booty Ball and all of the rest of the things that he does. He pretty much said he was leaving Penn State. I still think he could stay. But, I mean, if I'm like a team like Georgetown, I look at what he's done to a team like Penn State that couldn't care less about basketball, right? And they're a 10 seed, and they're now playing Texas. And I think they got a good shot against Texas. Now, would I say take them? No, but I think they could definitely make some noise. And those 3 are newer Big Ten coaches, and they all got tournament wins this year. Now, will that be sustainable? Probably not, but does it help the conference out big time? Absolutely. I mean, Indiana and Michigan State both took care of business, so the Big Ten is 5-3, which is great. So if we get 2 more losses or 2 more wins out of those final 3, it's a guaranteed winning record, which would be great for the Big Ten, because everyone likes to get on the Big Ten about how they get like 10 teams in, they stink. I mean, it was 8 teams in, 5-3. Not bad. Other teams with 8 teams is no one, but Big 12 went 5-2. We've already talked about the SEC went 6-2, so if there's an extra team that came in, they could have probably taken care of business. Now, looking at after those guys, I guess we can talk about quickly the groin injuries. Now, what do you mean by the groin injuries? I mean the groin injuries of Brandon Miller and Marcus Sasser. So Brandon Miller, it seems like he kind of tweaked his groin for the first time. I guess he had a groin injury earlier in the year, but he's supposed to be okay. I think both of these guys are playing today because I'm recording this on Saturday morning. Hopefully getting out right before the games all start. But that being said, how much are these number 1 seeds going to be affected by it? Obviously, Alabama was a lot less affected, but they were playing, arguably a way worse Corpus Christi team, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, in the first round as opposed to Northern Kentucky's against Houston, right? So when we look at this, we see the fact that Alabama, he scored 0 points, and they're able to win and take care of business. Marcus Sasser, they were in a dogfight the whole time. We thought there could be a 1-seed upset on Thursday when it was Northern Kentucky was hanging in with Houston. Obviously, we got that upset a day later, but before then, that was kind of an issue. Now, Marcus Sasser and Jamal Shead are both banged up, the top 2 players for Houston, and the guys that everyone picked Houston to win it all because of those 2, including myself. So how well are they going to be able to play? Obviously, every game matters. And now that they're playing Auburn, right, not as good of a team as some of the other 8-9 seeds, in my opinion, but you're still going to have to lock in, obviously, and try. You can't really take games off. I mean, you can against 16 seeds normally, but we'll see how they limit his, injury. Maybe they'll try to make him tough it out this week, and then he can get a few games, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. I guess not all the way that, but get a few 4 or 5 days off, right? Just kind of get it ready to go for when they play either Miami or Indiana, which will be obviously a much tougher game. Now, that being said, same with Brandon Miller. They obviously, he scored 0 points and they put up 100. Again, against a bad team, but Maryland, they should be able to go. Even if Miller is 50-50, I think it's kind of a similar situation. See what you can get out of him, have him go through warm-ups, everything normally. If he doesn't like it, obviously sit him. If he can do it, keep going. So those are two big things to look out for. Xavier, great comeback against Kennesaw State yesterday on St. Patrick's Day. That was something interesting to see, that they were down the whole time, and then they just kind of turned on the Jets and just came all the way back, played some really good defense, and escaped in the end. But late night, last night, TCU and FAU with comeback wins on buzzer beater type things. I still think they're buzzer beaters if you score. There's a few seconds left, but they buzzer beaters and last second winners for both of those teams that were losing pretty much the entire game. So shout out FAU and TCU for advancing. FAU faces Fairleigh Dickinson, and TCU moves on to face Gonzaga. Final thing here is kind of 2-3 points, but talking about the upsets, right? So Princeton obviously upset Arizona. They're probably pretty mad that FDU won because no one's going to remember the Arizona loss. So shout out to Arizona. You guys are lucky. Even bigger shout out to Furman. They beat Virginia. Kiki Clark had maybe one of the worst plays I've ever seen in basketball. He was trapped in the corner about 10 seconds ago and throws up this crazy hook, passing it straight to the other team. Furman Gid catches it, passes to the guy on the wing. He nails a Jordan Poole-like shot there to go up with 2 seconds left, and then Virginia lost. Crazy ending to that game. That was the, second game of the tournament? Yeah, and we had a crazy buzzer beater. And then later that evening, Princeton took over Arizona. And then yesterday, at about dinner time for most people on the East Coast, Fairleigh Dickinson upset Purdue. I mean, and it wasn't even like it was a stunning upset. Obviously it was, but what I mean is it wasn't like a comeback from crazy thing. They were pretty much up the whole game, and their coach went viral. He's just moved up from D2 along with some of his players. And he was like, hey, look, I think we can beat them. I don't know whether that was for the cameras or just, for a joke. When you're a team like a 16 seed and you get a play-in game, it's even better because you get a tournament win. And they don't count to me, but on the books, it's a tournament win. And then you turn around and beat a 1 seed. And it's like, hey, we're here. So we'll see if he gets poached. I don't know if he will, maybe, but it's just interesting to look at the difference between him and Princeton. So Fairleigh Dickinson, the coach is new, D2 coach. Brought 2 guys with him from his school and then 2 other guys from D2. So that whole team is pretty much different from last year. 4 or 5 of their guys are portal guys. I think 1 kid's from Longwood, and then you got 2 from St. Thomas Aquinas, and then 1 or 2 from where the coach came from in D2 as well. So you have a totally different thing, and the portal's kind of made that happen. Now, the portal, obviously, the 1 year sitting out was kind of a deterrent in the years past for guys to transfer. You've seen 1 or 2 guys do it, like Johnny Zhuzhang was kind of one of the main ones. He transferred from Kentucky to UCLA, sat a year out, and kept going. Javon Quinterly is another one that he transferred and sat a year out from Villanova to Alabama. But now that you can just transfer right away, if you're like, hey, I'm not playing much, I want to get out of here. Or if a team's not doing well, I want to get out of here. That lowers the bench quality of the starting teams and raises the quality of the lower teams. So we're seeing more upsets now. One would think that's because of the portal. It's closed the skill gap, and we're seeing coaches too be able to get their guys in quicker. And then the kind of comparison to that is, well, is the portal ruining everything? Is all these teams become hired mercenaries? You look at a team like Princeton, right? The portal hurt them. They lost Jalen Wellen. He's on Michigan. Obviously, he tore his ACL early in the year. They have pretty much all their guys back from last year, and they were able to upset one of the best teams in the country. I didn't really think they were that good, but Pac-12 stinks, as we can see here. But, yeah, they beat Arizona, right? They were like a 15, 20-point underdog, and they won outright. And they're going to be going down in history as another 2 seed to win back-to-back years. 15 seed has beaten a 2 seed. So shout out St. Peter's last year. They're going to, again, obviously lose a bit, them being FDU in there as well. But you look at Princeton, and they've just built their thing. They lost their best player. They win the Ivy League again. They upset Yale in the championship game, and they take care of business. Now they face Missouri. Can they beat Missouri? Probably not, but will they be in the fight? Absolutely. Two different case scenarios in Princeton and FDU, two different ways to get upsets. So there's that, and I just want to thank you guys for watching. Halfway done with the greatest 4 days of the year, so count our blessings well that we're in this great time, and thank you all for watching. Hope you like and subscribe. Comment down below if you what your favorite takeaway was from the weekend, or if you got any picks for the rest of the weekend, and peace.